people that organize these activities themselves and take it upon themselves to create and complete some really great stuff, just like Chris does here, where it just keeps happening year after year after year. And it's a lot of fun. I think you'll all agree we keep coming. What's happening in Arizona? Well, we have a wonderful compadreship, if you will, all the way up the chain of command in this state. And that's why we succeed, I think. We just had a really, for most other states, they have a really onerous law, and now we do here in Arizona, called distracted driving, where you can't hold things in your hand. Well, thank heavens for the fact that we have ham radio operators in our state legislature, and our leaders in there, Nancy Bartos, just does a great job of steering our stuff through and getting it passed. And so when they came along with the distracted driving law here in 2019, we got the correct verbiage included in there, and I kept, day to day, we kept sending it back to our legal counsel back in ARRL headquarters to make sure it was bulletproof. It had to be that it protected us and protected our rights and indemnified us from things like reaction due to the fact that we're using radios and so forth. So it's all in there, and we got it passed. So we had back here at Prescott, when we had our state convention, we had a little cake there that almost slid off the table. Thank you, Bill, for saving it, or whoever did. And then a couple of months later, we were going on our vacation, had our RV, and had a blown out tire there in Flagstaff, had to pull in the flag, get the big old tire and put 6 new tires on. Right then a forest fire broke out. It was called the museum fire. Museum fire? Yeah, museum fire. And we were just about to leave, and I forget who it was, and one of the hams called me on the radio and said, "Did you know the governor's here?" I said, "What?" The governor was visiting our EOC. Okay? This is Doug Ducey. And in California, they can't even get the governor to stop them from being kicked out of office. Here, he comes and visits us, and he shakes the hands of the ham operators that are there. That was a tremendous, I mean, you can't get better than that. That's saying, who are we as hams in the state? And the answer is, we're the guys that the state governor comes in and says hi to. Okay, that's really cool. And then every year we make sure, because we have our own legislative officials here in the ARRL who work here in Arizona, and every year the governor is given a statement which is all of the major activities we have, and he declares it Amateur Radio Month for the month of June every year. So that, what does that mean? That means he's aware that everybody that signs that, the Attorney General and all of the people that see that know that the governor cares. That has a lot of influence. Anytime somebody in the county or something wants to say, no, you can't do that. Oh, well, we'll just see. We'll talk to the governor and see if that works. And that is intimidating to them. They know that we have authority all the way up that chain of command. Frank, yes?
Can I jump you back to the top? Can you explain to us on the distracted driving law,
yes,
what exactly is exempted under that law for
okay.
us? What can we do and what can't we do?
Good point. Let me do that. Because I've been pitching it for so long, I kind of assume that everybody knows, but let's talk about that. It's really important because right now, if you have your cell phone or anything in your hands when you're driving, I wish it included a Big Mac, but it doesn't. But the answer is, if you have a device in your hands or you're reaching over and touching a radio, okay, that's not legal. And the police can pull you over for that. Now, they don't pull you over unless they see something that it looks like erratic driving and everything. But notwithstanding, for hams, we're always on the radio. It's always in our hands. And I know I live in Oro Valley, and they were really onerous there in Oro Valley. Well, the nice thing was we got a statewide law that it overrode all of the local laws. So there's a uniform law in the entire state. You don't just have to go into Paradise or into Oro Valley or something, and suddenly realize, oh, I'm through the town limits, so now I can't. No, it's uniform throughout the state, and it says if you're a ham operator and there's something in your hand, hopefully it's not a cell phone, because if they spot that it's a cell phone, put it down and pick up your HT. But the answer is that you're exempt. Now, it's smart. It's number one, it's smart to have a copy of your license. I know the FCC doesn't demand that you do anymore. Wrong. Have a copy of your license to prove that you're a ham. Easier way, get those ham radio license plates, because the ham radio plates, we get back 80% of the money that you put for that license plate every year. We get it right back as hams here in the state of Arizona. It goes to ARCA. ARCA sees to it that those are distributed funds. They buy tents for and hardware for supporting ham fests, and Chris does a great job of setting up an excellent newsletter of all the club activities. So that's the smartest thing you can do, is get a ham radio call plate on. Next thing, because, and by the way, we've made sure that all the counties and DPS, which is a highway patrol for us here in Arizona, are all aware of the fact that ham plate, what they look like, and the fact that if someone's got a ham plate call, they're probably a ham, and so therefore don't bother pulling them over. Even if they're weaving around, they're probably going to make it home.
Probably. Just the remote
Does the law actually,
program, yeah.
does the law actually exempt us if we actually had a cell phone in our hand?
No, it does not. Okay. And there's a reason for that, because many of the people in commercial activities who use cell phones now to communicate, because they don't have to deal with emergencies. That's the reason why we kind of got preempted in terms of our ability to supersede that. Virgil's asking the questions over here, and he was key in making sure that legislation got passed. You owe Virgil a hand. All of you did.
All right.
And of course, yeah, there was our governor out there chumming with ham operators. I love it. We sent that back, and you cannot believe the impact that makes back at headquarters when they see the governor out there. I know Dick is even embarrassed when he sees that picture. Okay. We also received a couple of very important letters. I didn't even catch that they were what they were talking about when they first came to me in email. But they're from senior vice presidents in Red Cross, thanking us in the state of Arizona for our activities this past year. So we're right up to date with the Red Cross, with the highest levels of people in the Red Cross recognizing us here for the contributions we're making there.
The interesting thing in that picture is none of the Red Cross hams are in that picture. Unfortunately.
We had several up at the museum.
Yes, there were several. And of course, like I say, we get these commendations. Virgil's also responsible for getting that commendation run all the way up the chain of command and signed, all the way up to the Attorney General and the Governor. So that's very important to us, because it says we're doing the right things and we're getting recognized for doing the right things. Okay, what else is happening? Well, Homeland Security, we've always had a problem here in that the Indian Nation doesn't really affiliate itself with a state level organization or us, and so we've always had a trouble trying to develop emergency services activities with the Indian Nation. Well, guess what? Homeland Security has kind of one up that, and part of the reason why the Indians don't is because they don't just consider themselves to be Arizona. Okay, if you're in the Apache tribe or you're in the Hopi tribe, they transcend state boundaries, and so therefore Bill and I are kind of powerless to say, okay, everybody's under us, or who's my EC for that activity. Well, Homeland Security's doing that for us. They're going to help organize the hams in the tribes and do that at that level. And we're going to be contributing to that by giving them names of hams and organizations, but it will be at a national level so that they can have if not authority, certainly the ability to provide resources to those people. That's underway. It's growing. I tried to get Dave Anderson before he moved to California involved in that, and Dave has done a good job right down here in La Paz County at getting the Indians. And we're trying to do that over in Cochise County as well, where there's a number of Indian tribes, Odom and others, and in eastern Arizona. So there's a total of 11 tribes. We're trying to make that 12 now, where we will get the hams to organize themselves under their own auspices. I just, last Friday night, when I was at the Central Arizona DX Association dinner, and yes, we missed you, birds, you weren't there. But we had one of the Navajo code talkers there, had his ham badge on and everything, and shared with us the fact that the Indians up there on 2 meters send code, and they call themselves the code talkers. That's really cute. I thought that was cool. But they are organizing now, and that will be a good, they want to stay within themselves, that's fine, that's good. Because the Bureau of Indian Affairs loves it, because it's technology, and they're always afraid the kids don't have anything to do with technology. And so we're one of the few people that are actually under STEM activities doing something to help those kids stay away from drugs and get involved in growth. Yuma Ham Fest. We're going to have it again. And Jeff Weeks, again, is putting it all together himself. Just kind of, he's a teen, but if you knew Jeff, he just spearheads the whole thing and makes sure every little tiny thing gets done. He's usually out there directing traffic and making sure signs are put up the right way. And, but he's just a total hotshot at getting all of this done for the 4th year in a row. The answer is California doesn't have an answer to Jeff Weeks, and so they can't put together their own state, the California part of the Southwest Division Convention as good as we do, so we get it again. And we'll probably get it next year. And that's fine. We're more than proud to do it. Arizona QSO Party, I kind of adopted part of that because it's so much fun. It gives us a chance to not only call among ourselves and communicate one weekend, but also the rest of the world. And so everybody has a QSO party, so I wanted to make sure that we do. We have a great team that puts it on every year, and they have neat little prizes, and we contribute, ARRL contributes heavily to the awards that are given. El Tour to Tucson, I mentioned that's a very significant activity here in Arizona. Ends up, I'm probably shading the truth because there are at least 4 other activities that are bigger than El Tour that are run by hams here in the state already. In fact, I mentioned that to the Yavapai people, and they says, we have one of those every month. They have one of the international bike races every month up there in Yavapai. And that's also the ones, by the way, that have that 85-member chief club in the county, and they're very, very active. What else is happening? Well, I mentioned Bob Interbitson, and Bob has kind of adopted U of A as the leader college in the 65 colleges that are the University of the Air. And so a lot of the activities that are going on at U of A have been spotlighted to the rest of the colleges that are involved in this, and are being used as the model for how to gather new hams. Where do they come from? How do you retain them when they're in college? What kind of activities do you have, etc. So U of A, KUAZ has really grown. K7UAZ Club has grown tremendously, and also has grown in their activities, and they're very active again, which is good because they were kind of dead here 4 or 5 years ago. Who are the most important hams? This is the one I always, every time I go to a club meeting, I dun them on the fact that they do not do a good job of retaining hams, and that's because they think their activities are number one. The most important activity they have is to capture those hams and give them a job. This stuff, I was at a meeting a couple of years ago at the Yavapai Club, and they said, we can't find any volunteers. I announced and I asked for volunteers, and I didn't get any hands up. And I said, you don't ask for volunteers. You give them a job. When you first hear there's a brand new ham, you say, you go up to them, and I'm talking about the club president or somebody in the board on the club goes up to them and says, we need you right now. We need you to do this. Even if you don't need them, you still do need them. And so the answer is give them a job. And yeah, we already have somebody that does that. Take that job away from that person, make him the Elmer to train that new guy into the job he used to do. Okay? A, that frees that guy up into doing something because you already know what his resources are and everything else. And B, it gets those new people to stay in because they have involvement. You've got to get them involved, not just give them a radio. Get them involved. Give them a job right now. Don't take no for an answer. Oh, you don't want to do that? Well, we got this. Be pushy. Really be pushy. You've got to do it. We've got to keep growing or we're going to lose 3 gig. We're going to lose 5 gig. Okay? That's the answer. You're all part of that. You're in a club meeting, and the first thing you should be asking, the first question to the president who's giving his keynote speech is, who are the new hands? Why aren't they standing up with you? And what are their new jobs? That ought to be what you're saying. That's what we need to do. Okay, so here's some of, we had a brainstorming session when Bob Intervitzen was here, and we kind of went through the things we wanted them to take back to the league that said, how do we do this? You know, how do we organize better? One of the things would be, let's make sure that every club, I have the access to all the new hams and what their phone numbers and all the information are. And so we're gonna make up now a list that goes out to the clubs and says, here's the new hams, go get them. Right? Even if they're not at your meeting, send them an email. So I make sure that we get the emails off the FCC database, paste it, or I go to QXN, Fred lets me steal them, and then give those people a call, say, we want you at our club meeting because we need people. We need people just like you to do. Get them when they're fresh. Yes, but
less than 90%, probably less than 95%. In other words, only 5% maybe technicians have email addresses at QRZ.com. I know I've been harvesting them for the Duke City Ham Fest. VE exam, they pass their exam, congratulations, here's your call sign, and then we don't want to see you again. Get those email addresses and explain to them what QRZ.com is.
Right, you get your 605 NCDEC, copy the email addresses, and maybe even put them on the submittal form that you have, so that we need to get a hold of these people after they get their license and let them know they're wanted, that we need you. Yes, sir.
Email's not very effective anymore, and as we've adopted some of the advice that you have suggested in the past, we make phone calls as mentors when they join. And we send out emails that their membership's expiring. That doesn't work. We now call them. The more often we have a chance to call members, the more effective it is, and they are very surprised that they're getting a call.
That somebody cares.
That somebody cares.
Yes.
There's a whole passel of us out here and it's getting a little noisy. Is there any way this speaker could be turned up just a hair more?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. How about if I do that?
I love you.
Okay. Close talk the mic. Didn't realize that we still got room in here, guys. Yes, sir.
What we do also down in Green Valley is the first year club dues are free.
That's smart, and I got that on here. Yes, first year club dues. I've been trying to get ARRL to make the first year ARRL membership. There's no excuse for not doing that. There really isn't.
We got 90 days now.
We do, yeah.
90-day trial.
Yep, and we got a new magazine too.
Yep.
But I've been trying in Green Valley. I've been trying to, as well as in Yuma. I've been trying to get QST sent to the libraries. You know, the one right next to where you meet. I've been trying to get them to send QST and a few other publications right there to put them on that table right there in that library. And the same with Yuma. At Fortuna, we want to do the same thing, is have those new Get on the Air magazines available for even non-hams to look at. And that way, if you have a Boy Scout, somebody that wants to know and you don't have